Hey guys, welcome to another remodel. We are in another remodel. Keep watching, keep watching. Welcome back to another video, guys. This is your host, Junior Garcia, The Carpenter's Touch, the podcast, right? And today we have a special guest, Nelson from PuroClean. So Nelson Rivera from PuroClean, and you guys always ask me, listen, I always want to get a good story, right? We want to hear of successful entrepreneurs, people that were in the trenches and kind of grew up and are successful. And today I have somebody in my neighborhood that actually has a business in Livingston, New Jersey. So, I feel honored to have Nelson here with me. So I'm going to pass it on to Nelson. Tell us.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. So my name is Nelson, from Livingston, New Jersey. I grew up in the same areas as you, down in North Newark. Grew up, moved over to Orange as a young adult. Got on the fire department there. Most firemen do something on the side. We all have a little bit of a side hustle, and my side hustle initially was to get into restoration. I started working for a company like mine, a competitor now. Started off as a technician, worked my way up,
right,
and eventually bought my first franchise. I'll say 2.5 years later, where we own 4 franchises now in New Jersey, and we're partnering up with our 5th location in Oregon. So it's been a long journey.
Oregon, the state?
The other side of the country. Yeah, so
I always want to go to Oregon, maybe.
Well, now you have a reason.
I have a reason. There's a storm in Oregon, right? So yes. you started in Newark, came to Orange. You took the fire's exam, right?
Correct.
So the firefighter's exam. You had what did you have? The dummy on your back, right?
Nah, that's just for TV.
Okay.
No, but yeah, you do a physical exam.
Right.
It's all that good stuff. You drag the dummy, you run up the steps, all of that. And then you get placed on a list, and depending on how well you do on that test, you get hired or you don't.
Right.
So I was fortunate to do pretty well and got hired pretty early. I was 20 when I got on the job. I turned 21 in the academy. So I've been there 15 years now. So it's been a little bit. So you've been in the academy.
Oh, okay. So how long was the academy? 3 months? 6 months?
No, our academy was just about 4 weeks. My first academy. Now it's gotten a bit longer.
Right.
They're learning a lot more. They kind of just threw us into the trenches back then.
Right. So turn off the fire.
Yeah.
Turn off the fire.
Put the wet stuff on the red stuff. So
simple stuff,
yeah,
right?
It's gotten a little more complicated now.
So now, so you moved in. So I don't know, like when we talk about police officers, I know the ranking, but for firefighters, the ranking does go up, right? So what is it? A sergeant? Is it a lieutenant? Captain?
We have captain. So our structure is paramilitary, just like police, just like the military. We go as you start off as a probationary firefighter. You become a firefighter after your first year completion. And then after 3 years on the job, you're eligible to take a test to become a captain. Those who take the test get ranked same way as the test format. The highest person on the test is the first one promoted. So I became a captain, I want to say 6 years ago.
Right.
Maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. And then our next rank is deputy chief. I took that test about 2 years ago. I've been a deputy chief a little over a year now.
Right.
And then the only step above is the chief of the department, which I am not looking to pursue.
It's a hard job, right? It's stressful, isn't it?
It's stressful. It would be ideal if that was my sole career,
right?
But because I have so much going on, I'm good with where I'm at right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So now fast forward, now you own a business, right? You have that business. You're still a deputy chief. So now you started your first location. Was your first location in Orange, or was it in Livingston?
No, so I used to work for the owner who owned the Livingston location.
Okay.
And I worked for him for about 7-8 years, and you know, went through a lot of up and downs with that guy. He was a great guy, but it just I didn't feel I was appreciated for what I was offering to the business, and my potential wasn't being tapped into.
Right.
And about 2 years before I left, we started storm chasing. So I convinced this guy to start traveling wherever the hurricane hit. We'll throw everything on the trucks and we'll hit the road. And we did that for a year. The second year, I was down there, and I didn't see my worth being met. You know, I asked for certain things, and he didn't feel I was worth it. And I was out there. I was in Florida at the time, and I called my wife. I was having a discussion with my wife, and she was an accountant for a big fashion designer in the city. So she had a lot of connections with banks and loans that person would acquire. And she said, well, why don't we try to acquire a loan and buy our own franchise,
right?
Yeah, so I told her to go ahead with it, and by the time I got back from that storm, I mean, we were already so close to opening up. I mean, within a couple months,
right,
we opened our first location. So our first location was Morristown.
Okay.
So Morristown.
For those that don't know, what is storm chasing?
So storm chasing is so what we do here at home is water, fire, mold remediation, and we also do biohazard cleanup. What that means is the most typical incident that occurs here in Livingston will be a hot water heater that goes bad.
The pipe
bursts and you get a flooded basement, a flooded kit, whatever it is. That's the most common. So what we do is we come in, we'll extract the water, and we will set up dehumidifiers, fans to dry the structure, right?
Right.
A lot of people think, oh yeah, we got water on the floor, let's just mop it up. The walls got wet, but they'll be fine. And that's not a fact. If your drywall gets wet, there's insulation behind it. If all of these materials are wet and not dried, then a couple months down the line, you'll have a mold issue, and you won't know how it happened.
And I know for a fact, I've seen a whole house, like literally, it's just a small mold pot, and the whole house had to get gutted.
Yep.
Because of mold.
Yep.
Mold is very, very, very dangerous.
Yep.
So you guys do fire?
So fire is not that common. Thankfully, Livingston has a really good fire department. So by the time we get dispatched to fires, typically what we're dealing with is a lot of smoke, right?
Got it.
We don't see too many houses burned down in Livingston. They typically get there pretty quickly. So we'll come in, we'll clean all of the soot, the smoke. We'll use ozone generators to get rid of the odor, and then we will demo whatever can't be restored. Right. If we can't clean it, we can't dry it, we can't save it, we'll remove it and we'll prep the area for reconstruction, for restoration. So that's the fire side. The mold is, goes hand in hand with the water. If there's a mold situation, we'll go in and we'll remediate the mold. And then the most unfortunate cases are typically the biohazard.
So to me, I don't know what a biohazard is, right? Mm-hmm. So what would that be in layman's words? So
biohazard is a lot of our calls are blood, trauma, whether there's some type of accident that happened, a sudden death with
at
body fluids.
Okay.
Yep. So it could be that. During COVID, our biohazard was COVID cleaning.
Right.
We have somebody that was infected. We'll enter a structure, and we'll go in and decontaminate, clean, do a deep cleaning of the structure.
So commercially and
correct.
Residentially?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the biohazard side. So what storm chasing is typically hurricanes. Hurricane will hit Florida, Texas, whatever it be. I think
you went to Louisiana.
I was in Louisiana.
Right.
Yeah, I've done work in both Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Texas, and Louisiana.
So you'll go down there and camp out.
Exactly. So we head down as soon as we know a hurricane's gonna hit. We try to pinpoint the area that's going to get impacted, and we'll drive out and we'll try to stay maybe a few towns out so that we're safe. But we try to be the first ones on the ground. You know, as soon as someone's roof gets blown off and their house gets flooded, or whether it's rising waters that come into the home, we try to get there as soon as we can, because the quicker we get there, the less damage. You know, there's going to be secondary damage because the water is going to wick up, mold's going to start growing. So we try to get there right away. And we just, you know, those situations are much different because we're not going home every night.
Right.
You know, we're living in a chaotic area where there's no power, no water. You know, you have to drive 4 hours to get gas, 2 hours to get food.
You're living on generators.
Living on generators, correct. You know, one storm, my guys, water was hard to come by, and there was no water, so we each had 2 bottles of water to shower every night.
Wow.
One to, you know, soak up, and then one to rinse off. You know, and the guys got so good that they started just using one, and they were bragging about it.
Oh,
but wondered why no one wanted to stand next to them.
Yo, I'm only using one bottle. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's tough. It's tough living.
It's hard. It's hard when you go out, right? It's definitely hard.
It is. You know, you're away from your family. You're living on the road. But you know, if you want the business to grow, you get that influx of work.
Right.
You
because
know,
of storms.
Exactly. And then you could come home and build the home territory up much quicker than you would had you just been home. So it's a little it's give and take.
Right.
Which one was first? Were you a firefighter first, or
you never stopped? You never stopped being, because you was 21 years old, right?
Correct. So
did that inspire you to go into the restoration?
No. So what happened was, as a fireman, we work 24/72. That means we work 24 hours. We go home for 72 hours. 24 hours. So we typically have 5 days a week free, because we work 2 days a week, but for 24 hours. So we do 48 hours in 2 days. So with that 5 days off, I needed something to do. I wanted to work. So
most people are like electricians.
Yeah.
Most firefighters are like electrician. Mm-hmm. They'll do carpentry on the side.
Correct.
Or something, or plumbing.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So what did you do?
So I started working for one of my competitors initially, as a part-time person, and I started working for that company, and I rose up pretty quickly with them, and then I jumped ship, and I went out and started working for a PuroClean.
Right.
And then while I was working for that PuroClean, I rose the ranks a little bit more, learned more of the craft, and then I got an offer from a competitor, a different one of the bigger boys, which I'm not gonna
mention their name.
I'm not gonna give them some free advertisement.
1, 2, 3 Restoration.
Exactly. So I started working for them, and the guy who I previously was working for in PuroClean sold his franchise to a new owner. Right. And that new owner reached out to me and said, listen, you know, I just bought such and such business, and we had a discussion. I decided to leave where I was and come over to him and help him kind of, you know, build up. Right. He was new to the industry, didn't really know much about it, and we kind of just built his business from there, and he did pretty well. So during that entire time, I'm still on the job. I'm still a fireman. I got 15 years, 10 to go. So I think I started the restoration about 3 years into my career, two or 3 years into my career. So I've been 12 years. Yeah, I've been around the block. Yeah. So
you saying, so what's the worst accident you've seen, whether it's residential or commercial?
Well, I've seen it all, man. I've been to hurricane hit areas where we literally see a house flipped upside down on top of a vehicle, and I remember the first time I saw that, it blew my mind that it didn't fall apart. It was intact. It was intact, and it was on its side on a vehicle, and you know, and you're driving and you see every single tree snapped, you know, every power line on the ground. It's total destruction, you know, and it's almost like a war zone, and it's crazy to think that people are living like that, you know. So I've seen some really was that
Louisiana?
So that one, I believe, could have been
Texas.
No, it was Louisiana. I don't remember the town of Louisiana. It was near Texas, in Louisiana, Lake Charles. It was in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I mean, but I've seen total devastation, and it's crazy because a lot of times when we're driving into these storms, it will be normal, right? All of the structures are normal, and then out of nowhere you just pass a street and it's devastation, you know. So it's like night and day, man. And there's no food anywhere because everyone's stockpiling and everyone's panicking, and there's a mile-long line of people trying to get gas, and it's just a different world, and is literally devastating.
So my question, right? And I hate to say it, right, because when we had our storms, right, we had our storms here in for Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Sandy was a big thing. When I remember Sandy, you know, I was still roofing, right? I was still doing roofing, siding, and you know, renovation inside. But it was a weird thing in Staten Island, because that's one of the boroughs I take care of. In Staten Island, I was giving out quotes. I probably gave out maybe about 50 quotes. Gave out because they needed a quote in order to get paid from the insurance, but the insurance would fight them not to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I stood here in Livingston, no lie. I stood in here in Livingston for maybe about 4 or 5 days, and the adjuster came out from Oklahoma, and he goes, "Do you have a ladder?" I said, "Yeah." You don't mind going with me to this? I said, yeah. I went up there, put the ladder up for him. He goes, I have about 4 or 5 other homes to go to. You don't mind me using? And he was literally writing checks off to the homeowner there, and I was making the roof. So I was the roofer providing the ladder for the adjuster, and we were just going from house to house to house to house. And it was so easy because I was getting the roof job. This is the sad part. Everybody in Staten Island wasn't getting, I mean, literally the roofs were coming off, everything, the siding was coming off. And over here in Livingston, New Jersey and surrounding areas, a couple of shingles flew off, and the adjuster says, brand new roof. I said, no, I can repair this. No, you don't understand. It's a brand new roof. And he would write out the full check. $15,000, bang, write it. And then they would hire us. See how it was, and I felt sad because I was like, man, these people that really needed the money in Staten Island, I felt so bad, but they didn't help them out. Same thing that happened in South Jersey. Same exact thing. They weren't getting, their insurance companies weren't paying out. I said this, right? I brought this out, right? Because let's say if we get something here in New Jersey or in the New York City area, what do I do? That type of devastation, and you're like, yo, you know, my house, everything flew off. There's no power. What do I do, right? As a homeowner, right?
Does the homeowner call the insurance? The insurance calls you. Does the homeowner do their research and call you first before calling the insurance? What's the process?
Yeah, because we all panic. Yep. I'm gonna tell you right now. We're all scared. We don't know what's going on. You know.
So there's so many different situations, right? So we have what's called SLAs with multiple insurance companies.
SLAs, right?
Where we're a preferred vendor for them. So if a homeowner calls said insurance company, the insurance company would then dispatch us the job, right?
Got it.
We get the individuals who heard about us, know about us, seen us on social media, seen my truck around the neighborhood, right, and they'll call us first. And then we got the people who go on Google. We got the people who, you know, don't know who to call. There's so many different avenues on how to get us in the door. But what makes us different than most other trades is we are a mitigation company, right? So we have to get there and mitigate immediately,
fast,
right? So one thing that we do is before we start any work, we determine that it is an insured covered loss, right? So we look at what happened. You know, we all know just from our experience, we can look at a damage and we'll say this is definitely going to be covered. You know, it was wind damage. It's a wind damage, exactly.
A tree fell on my house.
Exactly. You know, we have a sub pump failure and it's groundwater. Okay, that's not covered by your regular insurance. No, that's you have a sub pump waiver for that.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So you only have, most people have between 5,000 and 10,000 coverage for sub pump failure. You know,
that's good to know.
we'll walk in, we'll establish what happened, and then we'll see the red flags. If there's a red flag on coverage, we immediately let them know. This is what's going to happen. This is what needs to happen. This is what it's going to cost, and then you determine if you want us to do the work.
The insurance may not cover. Exactly. And you will probably have to pay this out of pocket.
Exactly.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, we deal mostly, most claims are covered. We'll see that. We'll give the adjuster a call. Say, listen, this is XYZ. This is the scope of work that needs to happen. Once they say yes, we agree. Go ahead and do the work.
Got it.
We do the work, and then we'll negotiate with the insurance on payment.
Got it.
You know, we don't ask for a check up front. We don't ask for payment. No down payment. Nothing. You know, because we understand that it might take you a month, 2 months to get paid by the insurance company, and we don't want to put that burden on you. We take that burden, we do the work, and we'll wait to get paid.
That's good to know. That's definitely good to know, especially because, let's say now I'm homeless. I'm literally living in a hotel until the renovations happen in my house, and you don't ask for no upfront cost, right?
Correct. You
sign the contract, obviously.
Yeah, you sign the contract. There's some things, you know, a tarp on the roof.
Right.
That's priority, right? You got to stop the water from coming in. Those things they have to pay, right? Because, you know, the roofer doesn't know if you're going to get paid by the insurance company.
Right.
So
Likes the roof being priority.
Yeah.
I have to get paid first.
You know what? The fact is, the roof is the priority.
Yeah.
The number one priority is to stop water from coming into the home.
No more loss.
That's
what they say. No more loss.
It doesn't get worse than this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like in the fire service, we say, you put the fire out, all the other problems fix themselves. You know, same thing with a roof. You stop the water from coming in, everything else, you know, it's not going to get worse. You just have to, you know, prioritize what needs to be done, hire the right contractors, and get it done.
Yeah.
Any challenges for you to acquire the franchise?
So
You were young.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Two-part question. Challenges to buying a franchise at your age, and then what's the process difficult?
So when we decided to pursue buying a franchise, I'm gonna be completely honest. I wasn't looking at PuroClean. I was looking at a franchise, one of the competitors that I worked for prior, and I reached out to them first, and I started the process. It's an interview process. They do screening. You meet the team. That's actually what they call it, meet the team. So you meet the people at the franchise who run the headquarters, and you kind of get to know them before they actually start the process of applying for
It's just an interview, basically.
Yeah,
they're trying to
it's like
out.
orientation both ways, right? But so I started with one of the competitors, and then I said, you know what the heck, let me reach out to PuroClean and see what they're all about, because the only information I knew about them was the information I received from my previous boss. I mean, the moment I called PuroClean, I spoke to a gentleman named Steven, and I was sold right away. It was the culture, everything about it just fit with, aligned with the type of people me and my wife are, and we said this is what we want. I was at the time I was struggling to get by. We didn't have a lot, and my wife was able to acquire SBA loan. She had a little background in accounting, so she knew
how to manage that.
Yeah, how to get if I had to do it, they would have told me to go fly a kite.
Right.
But she was well versed in that area, so she was able to secure that loan for the franchise. And it's like anything else. I've seen people buy into the franchise system and fail, and then I've seen people buy into the system and thrive. But it's really all about what you put into it.
How do they set you up? Vehicles, front, marketing. How do they set you up?
So when you buy into PuroClean, you go to the PuroClean Academy. You go there for, I believe it's 4 weeks now, 3 weeks, and they kind of give you a fast-paced education on everything. How to market, how to close a job, how to run the day-to-day operations, how to estimate. QuickBooks. They try to give you a crash course in every aspect of the business.
In 4 weeks.
In 4 weeks, yeah. Some of it is online. They offer a lot of online education, and they kind of try to get your feet wet. They have a mock house, is a full 2-floor home that they flood.
On purpose.
Yeah, they put a hose, they flood it, and then you dry it. So you do actual hands-on training there.
That's good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So when you leave there, you're kind of ready to rock. And then you purchase your vehicle through them. They have partners that they secure your vehicle purchase, your equipment package, and then you're on your own. Now you have the education, you have the support team. But it's a franchise, it's individually owned, right? So now I have to go out, find a storefront, find the staff, figure out what my identity as a business is going to be, because we wear the same colors, we provide the same quality customer service, but we're all different. Everybody's different.
The good thing about in Livingston is you guys stand out. Why you guys are always giving out, whether it's in Orange or in Livingston, and you're always giving out to the community. You work in the community, and everybody, believe it or not, everybody loves a good story, and everybody loves a community guy. I'm gonna invest in a guy that's investing in my community. Everybody loves it. So my question to you, because the main question would be, there's like 2 different types of insurance out there, because there's and I'm not giving any promo to certain insurance companies, but there's some insurance companies that they pay. If something happens, the insurance calls you even do a Zoom meeting. Okay, we'll send you out the check in 3 weeks. Don't worry. And they pay exactly everything and then there's other insurance companies, which I won't mention their name, that they don't pay.
Yep.
And then and I'll say me as a homeowner, I don't know, and I'm speaking as we, right? We don't know what the 2 different types of insurance and what you're really covered, depreciation, what is that? And we don't know the lingo that the insurance company uses. And we find ourselves that they throw us $2,000 or $3,000. Yeah, your roof is damaged, or I know that your hot water busted, but it's your fault. You should have repaired it, and they just send you $2,000. Fix it yourself, and then you find with a claim that's over $15,000, and they only gave you $2,000. You follow? Because
Correct.
We don't know. Do you get to look at the client's policy? Send me a copy of your policy so I can know how to.
So yes, absolutely. With insurance, it's just like anything else. You get what you pay for.
Okay.
Right. A lot of people think that just because they see an insurance commercial, that they're gonna save you all of this money. That money is being saved for a reason.
Right.
And I tell a lot of people when I tell someone who's shopping for insurance, I say, listen, when you're talking to your salesperson, you ask them, what happens if my kitchen catches fire? What happens if this? What happens if my sub pump fails? What happens? Try to think of every possible scenario and throw it at them and see what they say. As far as payment, that falls a little bit on us, right? So we use Xactimate, which is the same software that the insurance companies use, right? So when I say I'm going to remove a piece of drywall that's 5x5 in size, I put it in, it's going to say, okay, the insurance has to pay you XYZ.
Right.
On the insurance side, they're going to put in what I did, and it's going to generate the same cost.
Right.
So we typically don't have a fight, right? Because they know we're using the same system. As long as we agree on the scope of work, we do that scope, we send our estimate, they pay us, regardless of insurance company. You do have some adjusters that play hardball that are trying to save money. And
I had one today.
Yeah. So, but as long as I find that education beats anything, right? I tell my project managers, we follow a standard, right? The standard is a series of about 5 or 6 small books. I tell them that's our Bible. When an adjuster says something, you justify it based off of the standards. And if they say, no, I don't want the homeowner to receive this service, you tell them, okay, well, you tell the homeowner that we recommended XYZ, but you're not going to pay for it.
Exactly.
We typically don't fall into that often. Insurance adjusters, they tend to know what contractors are trying to get over and what contractors are just trying to provide good service. And thankfully we have regardless of what insurance company it is, we have a really good relationship with most of them.
Okay.
We do get those adjusters here and there that are having a bad day, but that's not that common.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we for us, like in New Jersey, and for the people that are probably they're watching in California and Florida, typically somebody in Florida is paying $3,500 to $6,500 or more in insurance a year. If you live in New Jersey, we're paying almost $1,000 to $1,500 for homeowners insurance, right? You see the difference? Because down in Florida or even in Texas, they have more claims. So, I mean, imagine paying $6,500 a year. By the time 10 years passed, I paid $65,000 in insurance for my home, you know. But the risk factor is definitely higher because something most likely is going to happen.
Correct. Yep.
You know, but there's a lot of insurance companies. I like to say, because the reality is that I bumped into my portion of roofing is that they don't want to pay for the roof. They don't want to pay for the siding. Okay, we'll pay for partial of the roof. We'll pay for partial of the siding, and then we'll try to supplement. And people that don't know what supplements are, can you explain what supplements are?
So in my area, supplement would be, let's say you had a small kitchen fire,
Right.
And we took out. We told the adjuster half of these cabinets need to be removed, X, Y, Z. They say fine, that's what we're gonna pay for. They send us a check,
Right.
And then we start the work and we remove the cabinet and find out there's mold on the inside. Now
Behind the cabinets.
Now all the cabinets have to go.
Right.
Now they weren't prepared to pay for that, so we will submit a supplemental invoice,
Right.
and then they will add a supplemental payout for that work. Typically, we use about 7 different programs and softwares to document every single thing that we do, and in our line of work, that's all they require.
Right.
They want you to be able to paint a picture for them.
But
the adjuster is in a different state, sitting at a desk. And if you send them a bill and say, yeah, I ripped this guy's whole basement out because he flooded, that's not good enough.
No.
You know, they
don't see it.
They want to see videos, photos during the process.
Yeah, we use company cam.
Yeah, we have company cam as well.
So it's just easier. Boom, drop it. They have access.
Yep.
Boom, they see all the pictures.
Yep.
And stuff. At the end of the day, it just, whether you're in roofing, whether you're in siding, whether you're full restoration, whether it's mold, whether it's fire, right, or water, we as business, we just want to provide a service.
Yep.
In an honest and decent way, right? But I feel that because I go to these conventions like you do, ours are roofing and siding conventions, and we find out insurance, literally the shingles, all the shingles flew off, and they're saying, we're not paying you.
Yeah.
We're not paying you. By the way, don't forget to send them next month's payment, but we're not paying you. And that's what they do, you know, and that's why in our industry we have lawyers as well that kind of will come in because they have a legal claim to take care of it, right? I remember years ago I was a young contractor. This happened in Morristown, New Jersey. The guy was a Jewish doctor. He spoke fluent Spanish, and his office was in Dover. 2 trees split and broke the ridge, and one of the trees just landed like inches away from him. He said he thanked God because I helped all these people, you know, in my community. Anyway, they called me in real quick. They says, Junior, we need you to throw a tarp on the roof. Insurance company came. He says, throw it over the... I said, I can't. Can't do nothing. She says, throw it. It was late at night. We got like a 40 by 60. We threw 2 tarps. The guy had a humongous home, right? And what happened was the adjuster called me up, says, Junior, we're approving you to take out the whole top of the roof, the whole ridge, and everything, and reframe the whole house again on the top, because the house is condemned. The fire department came and put a red sticker, it's condemned, everybody has to move out. And after you do that, we need you to put another tarp on top of it. It says, what's over? It says, don't worry, a builder is going to be hired because they have to rebuild the whole second floor. So the whole top roof is going to get just demo. We're just preventing any more loss
Correct.
coming in.
Yep.
They paid us $35,000. Back then, I think it was like 12, 13 years ago. Back then, they paid us like nothing.
Yeah, well, they
Now-
avoided a few
Yeah.
$100,000
Yes.
worth of damage. Correct.
So
by doing
because now that the beam was broke inside, they had to rebuild everything and new footings, and then the whole second floor. Those people lived out of that house for I'm gonna say months, because they had to gut everything out. So I say that company, the insurance company, paid. It really was worth it. It was a good insurance company. There's bad insurance companies out there that I'm tempted to say the name. So guys, I finally had Nelson in here. I've been trying. I know he's busy because one, he's a deputy chief here in Orange, New Jersey. Also, you can follow him on, is it Nelson PuroClean? Nelson, how's your handle on Instagram?
I'm not even sure. It might be PuroClean Nelson Rivera. I believe that's what it is.
And you can follow him, and we'll put a link here below. And then if you have any comments or questions, leave them down here below, right? And then we'll answer them, Guys, don't forget, we're looking for that client that went through hell, right? That the contractor took the money and supposedly started the work and left. It's called fraud in New Jersey. It's called fraud. You sign a contract, you take a deposit from somebody, and you don't do any work. It's fraud. You're going to jail. So we're looking for that homeowner that had that tragedy. We want to bring him in. We don't want to disclose the contractor's name, right? But we want to share the story because it's still happening, right?
Yeah,
it's still happening nowadays. I just heard of another one that it's been wiped off, and another contractor told me, hey, listen, I need you to help me bid on this job. They got kicked out. They took the money. They left. And so, it happens. So we want to have them on this show, right? So don't forget to turn on the campanita, like, subscribe, and I remember when I get to 5,000 subscribers after this video, right? We're gonna give away a free James Hardy siding job.
Awesome.
Keep watching.
I'm subscribing.
Very, very good.